All right, we are going to recap the All-Star game with Ethan Smith of Locked On Pirates, who, rumor has it, one of his players actually played in the All-Star game today, but you wouldn't know it.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans and Pirate fans, and welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball or all of your Pittsburgh Pirates. I am your host of Locked On MLB, and this year I'm also the host of Locked On A's. I'm doing double duty this year. My name is Paul Francis Sullivan. Call me Sully. That is not Paul Skenes over there. And here's why I know it's not Paul Skenes, because he's wearing a Pirates uniform. Please introduce yourself, stranger with a mustache.
My name is Ethan Smith, host of the Locked On Pirates podcast, where I always tell you can get all of your news, analysis, opinions, and reactions to everything going on in the world of the Pittsburgh Pirates from a lifelong fan to lifelong fans like, may I add, Paul Francis Sullivan, who, yes, I know your affiliation is Giants and Red Sox, but I'm noticing the background's a little different today. Are we in a different location, Sully?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm up north for the summer. I'm in the Bay Area, and it's been helping me with my Locked On A's chores here.
Well,
follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter, whatever it's called now, and on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter. Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Where do you exist online?
Well, Instagram now with Locked On Pirates. Go follow it. Twitter as well at MVP_Ethan and at Locked On Pirates. Usually talking about mostly Pirate stuff. Kind of dwells into a lot of college football 25. Don't worry, Sully. When Team Builder drops, Cal State Fullerton will be being led to a national championship in your honor, sir. So don't worry when it happens.
It's about time. Hey, one last bit of business here is that today's episode of both of our shows is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for first deposit match up to $100. Okay, let's get down to it. And by the way, we are doing a live stream, and Goro Majima says, nice to see the Pirates have someone. Let's hope they can keep their pitching core. Hey, and I think the Pirates are a fun, exciting team. They're on the outskirts of the wild card chase, which we know for a while looked like it was solidifying, but it's now become a little more fluid again. Mm-hmm. And the Pirates have had some interesting wins down the stretch. So, if they have a good post All-Star break, they could find themselves in the mix of it. I think for your sake and the sake of your sanity and the sake of your sanity of doing your show, I would love it if the Pirates are playing meaningful games in September. That to me, I've known you for a few years now, and the first couple of years of you doing Locked On Pirates, you were doing the Lord's work, and I am really appreciating that now hosting Locked On A's, seeing how it could be to follow a team day in and day out for a podcast and not always have winners on there.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about post All-Star break, and a lot of people, I think, are going to get really scared with the way the rest of July shakes out for this Pirates team, with Philly coming to town, as we saw in the All-Star game that we're about to talk about shortly. Plenty of Philly's representation in that game. St. Louis to follow. Then you have Arizona. Obviously, Torey Lovello was the manager tonight, won the National League last year. And then I joked about it already on my show. Why could the Pirates not have played Houston in April or May? Why do they have to play them in July when they're figuring everything out all of a sudden? So that's how they wrap up the month of July. So with the next week and a half, 2 weeks, obviously with the trade deadline and everything, Pirates are going to look a little different, I think, than they currently look right now. And that could be for the better. That could be for the worse. It just all depends on how the front office really wants to handle things.
Yeah. By the way, Goro Majima has asked us another question, which is, where's the question she asked? Does anyone even run Locked On White Sox, or is that job still open? Well, I'm actually going to do that show as well. I'm going to do 3 shows a day. and I'm going to make sure I'm hosting all the Bottom Dweller shows. By the way, if you see me hosting a third Locked On show, please commit me immediately. Immediately. Absolutely. So welcome to Locked On White Sox, Locked On A's. I can't follow the A's and the White Sox this year. Okay. But hey, Goro, send me an email at info@sullybaseball.com if you know someone who'd be good for that. I'll set you up. The All-Star game was today. I had to check to see if I pitched.
Well, we see enough pitchers, so I mean, I wouldn't even be shocked.
Yeah. I have a couple of thoughts, but let's go through the first thought, okay? The home run derby, by the way, was fun the other day. I'm one of these people. I'll poo-poo the home run derby until I start watching it, and then I enjoy it. And so I've stopped poo-pooing it. I'm like, I always enjoy it every year. It's kind of like an all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast, Yeah, you may shake your head when you see the sign for it outside the, Knights of Columbus Hall. But when you go in there, hey, who doesn't like pancakes? Right. Is it silly? Is it frivolous? Yes, but so is an all-you-can-eat pancake buffet. And it's fun. It's a fun, you get to see the players interact and everything like that. And that's cool. Turns out the woman who sang the national anthem was intoxicated, and it's actually kind of a sad story. So I'm not gonna dogpile on her. But it's fun. It's not like it was about 20 years ago when it was a roided up, jacked up players hitting it on the Lansdowne Street. Man, those were fun home run derbies, but it's still pretty fun.
Yeah, and I think I like your analogy. Mine is almost like when you go to the county fair and you say before you go, I'm not going to play the games. I'm not going to play ring toss. I'm not going to play any of the mini games. But then, you see the bear, or you see like a really cool jersey on the wall that you can win if you spend a little bit of money, and you start having fun, even though you're spending your time with it. And even you're also a little confused too while it's happening. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, how much money am I really spending here? I think baseball, for its own sake, needs to do two things with the home run derby. Stop changing the rules every year and get some bigger names in there. Get some bigger names in there, because I think that would help its sake a lot. It's kind of like the dunk contest on NBA All-Star Weekend now, where it used to be like this amazing marquee event as part of All-Star Week. And now you have like G leaguers that take care of it. And I'm not saying the guys last night are like minor league players or anything, but could you imagine if they could just pay Shohei a certain amount of money to show up, or pay Bryce Harper a certain amount of money to do it? I mean, it would make it so much more fun if you had marquee stars in that game. Yeah.
Well, by the way, Goro Majima, has it down right here. And forgive me, Goro, I don't know what gender you used. I know your pronouns, so I'll just call you Goro. Wrote, home run derby is fun, but they got to stop changing the format. Knowing how much they change it, we've got wish we got Judge and Ohtani. Absolutely. You have Judge, who I think it was Jim Brewer described him as Herman Munster up there, and he is this massive figure. And you got Ohtani, who's this great unicorn. And this is no offense to Bobby Witt Jr. and Teoscar Hernandez and everyone else. It's like they're fun, they're good, solid players, and and usually the home run derby doesn't go to the biggest name like that, but. There is a chance, albeit an outside chance, that Aaron Judge will hit 60 home runs again. And there is a pretty clear chance that Ohtani has a shot at 50 home runs this year.
Yeah.
And they're there. It's not like they have the flu. And you can hit, and if you're worried it's going to mess up your swing, take a couple of cuts, and then go like, oh, looks like I'm not so good. Then pop a few up and go to then sit it out. But you got to have them on there. It's you got to have that murderer's row situation.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, but at the end of the day, I still thought it was fun.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
I mean, it's fun to see guys just go out there and just smack a baseball for 3 minutes as far as they could possibly hit it, and also see the crowd reaction. I mean, I saw one of the live crowd reactions to Bobby Witt missing that last one by like pretty much feet, and people were like locked into it like it was like a World Series game. And I mean, it's very fun. I can imagine it's probably more fun in person, but again, it's a part of All-Star Week. It's one of the marquee events on the MLB calendar. There's things they could change about it, but I'm not going to be a negative Nancy about something that a lot of people find fun.
All right. Well, I'm going to be a little negative Nancy on a bunch of things because the game itself was a fun game. There's a couple rules I want to start changing to the All-Star game to make it a smidge more interesting. But the easiest thing to change for me was the thing that borderline ruined the game for me today. And I'll go out and say it. There was a point where the game was annoying me because of something that they decided to do. Let's hear a little bit from our good friends over at SupplyHouse.com. Now, I know that you have lots of projects, Ethan. I know that you're a handyman, as it were, but you've got to check out SupplyHouse.com just as soon as the copy uploads on my computer. Hey, get supplies that doesn't crash the supplies. Do you have it up there? Because it's not uploading on my computer. I get supplies from the site that's made for skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is a reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands to get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Need help with your copy? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business. And talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks away at SupplyHouse.com. That site again is SupplyHouse.com. God's sakes, take the next one, buddy.
Yeah, today's episode is also brought to you by PrizePicks, where the copy doesn't crash your computer. So shout out to PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB, all lowercase, for a first deposit match up to $100, because who doesn't like free money? You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as just 4 correct picks, meaning you can turn $10 into $1,000. PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, where Sully currently resides, Texas, and Georgia, where I used to reside. I made my first $10 deposit, received an instant $10 bonus. So if you have the skills, you could play for a shot at turning your $10 into $1,000, and you could bet on a certain 22-year-old pitcher's over on strikeouts and usually hit quite often. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks, all lowercase, for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with PrizePicks.
All right, first I got to ask you, what is your hub for getting all your sports news? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. Free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day, bringing the biggest stories without all of the fuss. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or in the free Amazon Fire TV channel app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Where's your team every day? and not to channel Bill O'Reilly, but as you yourself wrote, we're doing it live.
We are indeed.
We're doing it live. Yes, sirree, Bob. All right. Let's talk about good things in the game before I start to get negative. Okay. First and foremost, your boy Paul Skenes got the start, and save for Mr. Contreras, it would have been 3 up, 3 down. But he looked good. He looked good.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, I know a lot. It was very hyped up. It was a very big moment for him. Obviously, big moment really for baseball. I think for a league that fails to market its players very often in a very good way, this is one of the rare occasions where they did a very good job at this. This was a no-brainer, knocked it out of the park decision by Torey Lovullo in Major League Baseball to make sure that he started this game. I know that a lot of people got their feathers ruffled a little bit when they saw the judge was fourth. Hey, if there's one thing about Juan Soto, apparently when he guarantees something, let him guarantee it, even if it means looking at called strike 3 that ended up being a ball because of William Contreras dropping the ball. It was very nice. Ball never left the infield for Skenes. 16 pitches, 11 strikes. He looked comfortable out there. Even in his post-game presser, he was his usual, short answered, carried himself how he always does in his interview, saying it was cool. It was cool to face those guys. Yeah, that's how he talks. I thought it was cool. And it really, just at the end of the day, for Pirates fans, one, this is nothing that we've seen in a very long time. He's only the 5th rookie starter ever to do it across all of baseball. And I believe the first Pirates pitcher since 1975 to do it. And the name is erroring me right now to start the game.
Was it John Candelaria?
No, it was not. I forget who it was. Jerry Royce.
Jerry Royce. Oh, that's right. Yes. Jerry. It's funny. I so associate him with the Dodgers. That's right. He did do it with the Pirates.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is something that my parents were like 5 when this last happened. And you just look at it like just for the whole thing and all the dominoes that fall with it too. And I know I'm going a little long here.
Sorry.
22 years old, phenom. Mm-hmm. A year ago today, the kid was pitching collegiately. Mm-hmm. I mean, 2 years ago, he was helping build fighter jets in the Air Force, and he's starting the All-Star game. But not only that, and this is the component I think that gets lost in it and why it was such a big deal, he's doing it for a team like the Pittsburgh Pirates, a team that notoriously has not been in the spotlight since 2015, a team that has constantly been the butt of a lot of different jokes over the past half decade, a team that has not seen sustained success since the early 90s and the late 70s, and then, of course, the mid 2010s. But that's what I think means the most of it, which is going to get into your point about something that also bugged me, but I'll let you go ahead and start about the unless you have more positives.
Oh, I have some more. I definitely have some more positives. I like when they mic up the players, and in a situation 100%. Like this, we can get to know them a little bit better. I like that Juan Soto showed off his ability to get, he drove in a pair of runs. He got on base a few times. He played some very nice defense on a ball that was hit into the corner, which I thought was a double, held him to a single. I like the fact that, who's the biggest star in the game was Shohei Ohtani, and he provided all of the offense for the National League practically with his 3-run bomb, and it was an absolute bomb. He got on base with the walk, as you grumbled about earlier. But you got to see there was some decent defense, and you got to see some emotion, and and the players seemed to be having fun. Remember fun? And Jarren Duran of the Red Sox got the big home run in Judge's spot, the 2-run home run, which was the difference. And you got to see. I'm not the Little League coach. I don't care so much about everyone getting in. But that being said, you saw a nice cross section of the players, the stars, and getting a chance to, focus on them a little bit. And I thought that was really cool. By the way, one last thing on the home run derby. ESPN, who covered home run derby, put together a amazing montage before the home run derby of the great home runs of all time. And it was a great cross-section. Obviously, you get the ones you expect, like Henry Aaron and Mazeroski and Joe Carter and Fisk and Boone. But just regular season home runs, unusual home runs, legendary home runs. And it was a fantastic montage. I got goosebumps watching it. And they did not ignore Bonds and Canseco and McGuire and so many of the players who helped save the game of baseball. And so I thought that was fine. And I thought for the most part the broadcast was fine. I had the volume down for a lot of it because I was having dinner while watching it, so I didn't have it blasting at top level, hanging on their every word. And let me tell you something. I will tell you, because I didn't have the broadcast blasting at full blast and I didn't have a phone in my hand, but I was watching the way a normal person watches it, eating with people and just enjoying watching the game. Because I watched it like a normal human being, I experienced the single worst part of the game that actually drove me bananas. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need and all the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, available for U.S. customers only. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Now it's available on the Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channel app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channel app. And that's why you record them ahead of time. All right. My favorite part of the All-Star game was ruined today. Absolutely my favorite part of the All-Star game. If I watch YouTube games all the time, and when I put an All-Star game on, I almost never watch the game. All I watch is the introduction of the players, which is my single favorite part of the All-Star game. When they all line up and each one steps forward, gives a little tip of the cap, and then the starting lineup comes out one by one. And part of the appeal of that is seeing everybody, all the different uniforms. You're all lined up. And you see when they're moving up, okay, there's a bunch of Yankees on here. Oh, here comes the one Texas Ranger, whatever it is. And through the years, you sometimes, the Blue Jays, when they were on that great run in the early 90s, like half the team was Blue Jays, and then you have, like, the Phillies are incredibly well represented this year. But because they're wearing these stupid uniforms, first of all, when they're being introduced, there was no goosebump of seeing your team. You're seeing your player. The two teams I follow the most this year have been the Red Sox and the A's. The Red Sox have been native New Englander. The A's, because I'm following Locked On A's. When Jarren Duran hit the home run, I wasn't sure who it was.
Yep.
I couldn't, because it wasn't a Red Sox player. And I'm sorry, a lot of the players are the same height, the same build. It's not like, they're not like the Avengers where they all look different, When Mason Miller was pitching, I didn't realize it was Mason Miller of the A's until he was into his second batter, because I was watching the game like a normal person does with family. You throw little bits of conversation, everything. You're not watching the single game, though, every minute with your eyes opened up like a clockwork orange, not missing 1 second of the game. Part of the appeal is seeing your player in their uniform, succeeding. And Fred Lynn, one of the great Red Sox when I was growing up, who was the All-Star Game MVP in '83 when he was a player for the California Angels, when he hit the grand slam off of Atlee Hammaker. Follow him on Twitter, by the way. He says, how could you, this is for former MVP, how could you make the fans of your city proud when you wear these uniforms at the All-Star Game? Seriously. Yep. You are a proud Pirate fan, and your highlight of the season could very well be Paul Skenes starting the All-Star Game. All the A's fans I know who love Mason Miller didn't get a chance to see their guy wearing their uniform. Last year, the only highlight, save for the Yankees series, because the Rockies had a great series against the Yankees, but for Rockies fans, the only highlight they had last year was Diaz being the All-Star Game MVP, but it just said, blandly on the side of his sleeve, CR. Otherwise, you could have seen a Rocky circling the bases last year. You could have seen a Pirate, pitching. A lot of times, I didn't know who the hell was on the mound.
Nope.
Actually, I thought when Max Fried was pitching, and you briefly saw the A on the hat, I thought it was Chris Sale for a few pitches. That you should, and to take away the joy of seeing the players all line up the way they do, and to see them on the field. Look, I get it. I get it to a degree that you're trying to sell merchandise. And even, Goro Majima was, saying, oh, well, this is, want to get the All-Star hat. Fine. I have no problem with them wearing a special All-Star hat.
I agree 100% right there.
Like 4th of July, I have no problem with that. Do you know what? I don't even have a problem with them wearing a special uniform as long as it resembles the uniform they normally wear. Yep. If it's like, if it's a uniform thing, but if you're Mason Miller, have it be green with All-Star Athletics, you have to have some semblance of the uniform. I get to take away the chance of seeing your guy in their threads, to take that aspect out of the All-Star Game, and also have it be, I don't know who's pitching, I don't know who's up. I'm sorry I looked away for a moment. Like, hey, I could have, when Mason Miller, I was saying, I hope Mason Miller gets in. I'm hoping Mason Miller gets in. And we're watching the game with a diehard A's fan tonight, and we were having a conversation about life. And I said, wait, is that Miller? No. Yeah. Instead of, hey. And also think if you're watching it in a bar, or if you're watching it in where you can't hear it, so that's why the uniform is important.
Yeah. And I think this is a perfect picture to encapsulate all of that. Is the 1979 All-Star Game. You see all the guys there wearing all their uniforms. Now, to go with what you said, I think a hat is fine. We do that for Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July, Memorial Day. We do that for everything. They do it for all kinds of stuff. The hat, I will just admit, I liked the hats. I thought the red and blue stripe with the logo
did too. Yes.
And it goes back to your point, though, too, that they were at least wearing something that signified who they played for. Like when you saw the Pirates hat with Skenes, you could see the Pirate P out there. But here's my thing, MLB, and I'll even show you. Here's a Skenes jersey right now. He could have had the gray version on, and all you got to do is put the All-Star logo right there. We do that with hats. We do that with everything. We do that with all kinds of stuff. And I think that would be perfectly fine. Or even like you were mentioning earlier, something to signify with it. Just put the Pirates font on the jersey and make it black and gold. And just make them gray and white. They don't need to be blue and cream and red or whatever they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And again, and I was kind of explaining this to somebody earlier when I was working. What I think it sucks for is people that, like me and you, know baseball. We watch baseball left and right, watch it every single day. What if you had a younger kid trying to get into the game tonight? He's not going to know who Ryan McMahon is after watching that game tonight. He's not going to know even who Jarren Duran is after watching that game tonight, even though Jarren Duran won MVP, because there's just nothing to differentiate the players from. That's the problem. And I think that's where you were bringing up a great point. Even Cincinnati fans, Cincinnati's been an up and down team this year, but they had one of the best young stars in the game and Ellie De La Cruz in the game, Hunter Green and all these other players, but you wouldn't know. You can't tell. And even I can't even imagine how confusing it is in the stadium unless you're looking at the scoreboard the whole time you're there, because you're not going to be able to keep up with all the, and this is the All-Star game. Like you mentioned, you have pitchers coming in and out. You have players coming in and out. I didn't even know Brian Reynolds hit a single until he was on second base after he advanced. So I think it's just one of those things where it causes too much confusion for a game that is supposed to be celebrating the best talent around the league and showcasing that talent and letting people from their respective fan bases root for that talent and be able to point and say, hey, look, there's Paul Skenes wearing a Pirates uniform during the Midsummer Classic.
Bill Jacobson, who's one of my followers, he and his Twitter handle is Bill FC Badger. He's a Wisconsin guy. This is a tweet he wrote. My kids are pretty knowledgeable about baseball, but no, my 7-year-old can't pick Stephen Kwan out of a police lineup. So put him in a Guardians jersey. Problem solved. Even if it's a variation where you have All-Star on it or All-Star patch or sleeve. The other thing is, I think your starting pitcher has to face all 9. You have to start. You have to have the starting pitcher face the starting 9. I'm sorry. You go through this and you see like this pitcher faced 3 batters. This pitcher faced 4 batters. I don't ever want to see a situation like we had when the game tied in Miller Park back in 2002. And you say, oh, this person pitched 10 pitches this inning. This person pitched 11. Go like, couldn't he face one more batter? And by the way, when you see pitchers being lifted with 2 outs and nobody on, I say, really? We can't.
How about the perfect example in the game tonight, Sully? Phillies All-Star Christopher Sanchez throwing 2 pitches and being yanked out of the game after he recorded 2 outs. Yeah. Just let him finish the inning.
Let him finish the inning.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously doing something right. He got 2 ground outs on 2 pitches. Let him throw. Hell, he might have thrown a 3-pitch inning. I mean, that would have been kind of cool to go look back on. Instead, no, we got to bring in Ronaldo Lopez.
Yeah, and
why?
And no, because everyone is dying to buy the Ronaldo Lopez uniform. Look, the uniforms. It's the proverbial Jerry Seinfeld. We're rooting for laundry. The idea is the pride of seeing your player there. If you want to sell a hat, sell a hat. They've had really cool all-star hats in the past, and I don't have a problem with that. Just make it so there's some identification of the team that they play on. If you want to design a uniform that has a new kind of design but incorporates the colors or the font or something of each team, that's great. But you're right. This game is to showcase the stars. And to do that, go like, well, Ellie De La Cruz was pretty good. I don't remember what team he played on. You know what? There's some people who will say that.
What made it even worse is offense is what people gravitate towards when they're trying to get into baseball. If you noticed, I don't know if you did, but when they were batting, the only signification you got of what team they were on was on their sleeve.
Yeah.
Because the helmets just said NL or AL. They didn't even have their team helmets. I would even say that minute detail would help. If you saw Brian Reynolds up to plate for the Pirates and he was just wearing, screw it, do the City Connect ones if you want. I don't care. That's even fine with me. If you want to throw the teams and have them wear their City Connect jersey so they truly connect with them, do that. But just something to where it is, like you mentioned, you're sitting there around with people. I work in a bar. That's what I was doing. I want to be able to, while I'm working, look up and say, okay, I know who's hitting right now, just based off the jersey alone. That's what I would like to be able to do.
By the way, different sport, but that's why NBA, home team white, road team darker color. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you because I was at a couple of bars or restaurants and I was watching some of the Celtics and the NBA Finals, and a couple of times I found myself rooting for the Mavericks because I thought, well, they're at the Boston Garden wearing white.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, I don't always have it. I don't have those sound up or anything. I'm going, oh, there you go, great shot. Why is Brown on the Mavericks now? But anyway, well, look at that's the All-Star game. It was fun. I wish they solved the uniform situation. Seems like a pretty easy fix to me. Wear the uniform. Well, you saw they're wearing them for the home run derby, so they had them.
Yeah,
put on a new hat, sell the new hat.
Actually, now that we're on this conversation, before we wrap up, perfect picture actually, because I forgot about that. Now that we're on this topic, even though I know the Pirates live again. By the way, folks, mind you. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with this.
We're going a little over here.
There's nothing wrong with that. They're wearing they're wearing even a cool hat. It's like a hat that is colored based off the team that looked just like the one they were wearing.
It's great.
All they're doing is wearing their jerseys. That's all you have to do.
Fantastic.
It's not difficult.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You already had them. They
were there. You were taking photos in them.
Or have them wear these silly uniforms at the home run derby, and then have them wear the regular uniforms during the game. There you go. You can still sell them. You can still sell them. All right, we're way over here right now. Ethan, tell people, and I gotta go to work tomorrow. Tell people where they can follow your show.
You can find my show on YouTube at Locked On Pirates, Spotify, and all of your audio platforms. It comes free and available to you Monday through Friday, sometimes on weekends. We actually had a Sunday show covering the MLB draft pick that they made at number 9, so make sure you check that out. And yeah, that's where you find it.
And follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow me on YouTube at Locked On MLB and on Locked On A's if you want to double up your Sully intake. And I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Breaking down the All-Star game, which it was a fun week. It was a fun few days, and it was a fun time. Just tweak a little things, and we'll be just fine. This has been Locked On MLB, Locked On Pirate Crossover. He's Ethan Smith. My name is Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me what?
Sully.